Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today in our e-invoicing office hours for the UAE implementation. So today we have the honor to have, as usual, our VAT partner from Dhruva, and as usual, we have today Kamil, which is the CTO of Oxines, which is our electronic invoicing service provider partner to serve all companies in the UAE and globally. So I think, Ushal, can you please introduce and welcome as well this session?
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. Hello, everyone. As Diana mentioned, my name is Ujjwal. I'm a VAT partner at Dhruva. I have close to 15 plus experience in handling of indirect taxes, helping all my clients in tax optimization and the correct compliances. For today's session, we have devised a particular methodology wherein we will have a few questions in the form of poll that can be asked to from everyone and seek what kind of responses do we get. These questions have been devised by way of our because these questions have come to us because we have a lot of meetings with our clients for whom we are helping in impact assessment and implementation of e-invoicing currently. So when we meet them, they come up with a lot of queries. We thought it would be worthwhile to share all these questions with the larger audience and see what kind of responses do we get. Obviously, we'll be having the answers along with the questions as well. And whatever questions you have, you can put it in the chat box and we'll try to answer all of them as well. Feel free to answer the question in any manner you feel free, because we will not be projecting the individual responses. So it would be an anonymous poll. So there are no right or wrong answers. Just feel free to answer and participate as much as possible. Right. Should we start? Camille, Diana?
Yes, sure. So as people are new, some new people are joining today as well. Just a little bit of where we are with the invoicing. Invoicing regulations are still coming out in the next month. It's a little bit delayed. Service provider accreditation is under process, but PIN specification has been released. It means data dictionary has been released by the Ministry of Finance and Federal Tax Authority, so businesses can start working on analyzing whether the data gaps they have in their systems. So this is something as an overview, and we can continue with the questions that we have received from the clients and from the conversations we had with our business partner.
Great, great. Thanks, Diana. So the first question is, if a taxable business receives an e-invoice from an overseas supplier where PayPal is already applicable, so the PayPal network is applicable in the country where the supplier is based out of, for the goods that are imported in the UAE, what should be the compliance for the taxable person which is based out of UAE? So A, it's no compliance required at all. B is the overseas supplier, because already involved in the PayPal network, should issue an e-invoice which is correctly right for the UAE framework. And the C is the UAE business must issue self-billing e-invoice. So we'll probably in next 3 seconds end the poll. Okay. So 50% of people have said that no compliance is required for the UAE business. 10% have said that the overseas supplier must issue an invoice, and 40% have mentioned that the UAE business must issue a self-billing. The correct answer is that the UAE business must issue a self-billing under the RCM businesses. This question is a little tricky because there is a little bit of gap in the FAQs that has been published. Diana, would you mind coming in and explaining us where the gap is?
So yes, so basically for this question, if it's overseas, if it's on the PayPal network, we can exchange the electronic invoice through the PayPal network. However, for the UAE VAT law perspective, still you need to be compliant with the UAE VAT law, and you need to issue a self-billing invoice. So the self-billing invoice is applicable for electronic invoicing. Of course, in the Q&A session, there are some places where they said it's not or it is. However, what we recommend is always to read along with the PIN specifications, because self-billing use cases are applicable for electronic invoicing in the UAE. So therefore, the self-billing invoice is applicable. Businesses need to issue the electronic invoices to create the self-billing invoice and share with the tax administration and federal tax and Ministry of Finance through the PayPal network by using a dummy endpoint. So Kamil, do you want to talk more about the dummy endpoint when there is no third party?
Sorry, dummy endpoint with no third party.
But there is, yes, when there is a case in the self-billing, so the Ministry of Finance will provide the endpoint, the dummy endpoint, to connect with the PayPal and transmit the invoice to the federal tax authority.
I mean, self-billing is generally reversed process of billing, where the buyer is issuing invoice, and the invoice is traveling through accredited service providers to ministry and back to the supplier. So technically, the process is not much different from billing process. It's just reversed.
Yeah, thank you. So we have the
Sounds
second
good.
question.
Yes, IT, can we have the second question, please? Which of the following document formats is accepted as an official e-invoice? Is it a PDF? Is it an XML, print.ae, UBL? Is it an Excel, or is it an email? We'll give a couple of seconds for everyone to respond.
This is good. A little bit tricky because it depends, but it's a good question because sometimes it's a little bit confused as well.
I think we've got all the answers. Can we end the poll? And Kamil, can you just come in for the response?
Thank you, everyone. So 30% indicated PDF as the valid format, 54% XML, 8% Excel file, and none of you voted for email. The right answer is XML format. That's the only format that is acceptable. In the UAE, we have a standard called print.ae, and this is the only format that's accepted for e-invoicing.
I think here we need to clarify as well that it will be accepted under electronic invoicing scope for transactions that are under the scope of electronic invoicing, B2B, B2G, G2G, to start with. For the rest of the transactions, we can continue with the normal and paper invoice, and PDF will be acceptable for the rest of the transactions. So I just to differentiate in which cases, but for electronic invoice, as Camille rightly mentioned, XML is the official and the right format.
Great. Thank you, Diana. IT, can we have the next question, please? When preparing e-invoices for export sales that are zero-rated sales, what is required? No e-invoices needed for export sales. An e-invoice in paper format must be issued. An e-invoice is required only if the buyer is in the country with e-invoicing rules. A manual e-invoice may be issued unless the buyer is a government-related entity. Couple of seconds for everyone to answer. Okay, we can end the poll. Interestingly, 31% have mentioned that an e-invoice is only required if the buyer is in the country where an e-invoicing rules are applicable. The correct answer would be an e-invoice is required where PayPal in the PayPal format and it should be issued. That is the B option in front in the poll. This is quite similar to the case where goods are being imported in the UAE and self-billing invoice is to be done. The logistics, which details have to be used because it's a corner 5 model that is being implemented in the UAE. The legislations will tell us how will procedurally it will work, because obviously the buyer which is in the country is outside the UAE will not be having an ASP. How will the transaction go smoothly in the e-invoicing process? Those things will come up in the legislation and details are awaited. However, right now we are aware that an e-invoicing, however, will have to be issued. Great. Can we have the next question, please? Kamil, would you like to take this one?
Yes. According to the UAE National Cloud Security Policy, who is ultimately responsible for implementing security controls in the cloud environment? A, only the cloud service provider, CSP. B, only the government regulators. C, the entity using cloud services, cloud consumer. And D, only the IT departments for the CSP. Let's give it a few seconds. Okay. I think, Diana, you can give a bit of more brief about the UAE National Cloud Security Policy, or maybe we can dedicate the next invoicing hours to that subject.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes, I think that would be good.
Because it's something
Mhm.
new and quite interesting. So here, well, the answers are quite divided, with 54% saying that the entity using cloud services, 23% saying that only the cloud service provider, 15% that the government regulators, and 8% only the IT department of the CSP. The right answer is answer C. So the entity using cloud services, the policy makes it clear that while CSP must provide certain assurances, the ultimate responsibility for implementing security controls rests with the cloud consumer, depending on how the service is used, obviously. So 54% of you were right.
And here is what is important is because for e-invoicing and what we are going to expect in the regulations, for electronic invoicing regulations, there are no specific data residency or data security, especially for e-invoicing. We always refer to the data security and that is already in country applicable to the UAE. And one of them is the UAE National Cloud Security Policy. So when businesses are selecting the e-invoicing provider, they need to and the services on the cloud, they need to align and consider the checklist provided in the UAE National Cloud Services. I think this is something that will be good to discuss in our next session. Kamil.
Great. So the next poll is, if an e-invoice contains an error in VAT calculations, how should it be corrected? Cancel and reissue the e-invoice, issue a credit note through ASP, email the correction to the buyer and the FTA, update the buyer ERP only, no reporting required.
I think this is
Okay, we can end the poll. Interestingly, 40% of the people have mentioned that we can cancel and reissue the e-invoice. The correct answer is we will have to issue a credit note through the ASP mechanism only, because once an e-invoice is issued, it's transmitted from the ASPs. It cannot be cancelled. The correct mechanism will have to be by issuance of a credit note to nullify, negate the transaction, and thereafter issue a fresh invoice or the differential portion, depending upon the error that has been done in the original e-invoice.
But it's good. I think this invoicing office hours is helping a lot the businesses, because most of the questions are right. So thank you very much for that, for all of audience. So here there's one question, Usual, that maybe you can take. Is about what about the patient billing to insurance companies? Is this should be as well as part of e-invoicing?
Sorry, can you please repeat?
What about the patient billing to insurance companies? Is this should be as well as part of e-invoicing?
I think so. Yes, why not? Because
Yes.
sorry, you saying something?
No, we are listening.
Yeah, I think it should be a part of the invoicing process.
Yes, so basically e-invoicing, the coverage is for B2B, B2G, and G2G. If the person is a consumer, is the end user, so basically
If the
this
person,
is a person who will not be covered the e-invoicing, the process will remain the same. So for the time being, we need to have in mind this is B2B, B2G, and G2G. So to start.
okay. No, I thought the question was different. Okay, the insurance companies have got the relationship with the companies where it's a business to business transaction, like the health insurance or life insurance.
Yes,
Sorry, life insurance. That's
yes,
what the
Summer,
question was.
we
Yes.
understood well your question, Summer, because Summer is here on the call. Hi, Summer. Yes? So
Okay. What about the patient billing to insurance company? Is this should be reported as part of e-invoicing? Yeah. So Samir, your question is with respect to, I'm assuming this is with respect to your medical bills that are there, that are being issued. Is it right?
feel free to open your microphone, Summer, and we can have a chat here. It's fine.
Okay, if that's the case, the B2B transactions are only currently under the purview of VAT, and only sorry, B2B transactions are currently under the purview of e-invoicing, and therefore those have to be issued through the system in a B2C mechanism. Those are not captured under the e-invoicing mechanism at the moment. So no, they will not have to be. Coming back to the question, poll 6, what is the expected time frame for receiving message level status MLS from the buyer's provider after submission of an invoice? Instantly, 10 minutes, 24 hours, 1 week. Diana?
Yes, what is the expected time frame for receiving a message level from the buyer provider after submission? This is Camille.
This is a very common question.
Yes.
Let's wait for the answers. It was a bit tricky. 71%, 71% indicated that it should happen instantly, which logic would say it's about right. No one believes that it's within 10 minutes. 29% people believe that it's within 24 hours, and 1 week obviously sounds a bit too long. In reality, the PEPL network, the PEPL framework expects the response within a short window, but it's a 10 minutes window. It's not instantly. So the e-invoicing is near real time, but you can expect up to 10 minutes delay in relaying the invoice through the network.
Yeah.
Great. Next question is, should the payment due date be included on the e-invoice if the payment is due immediately? So one of the conditions for an e-invoicing is that the payment due date should be mentioned. The first option is no, the due date can be left blank because it's payable immediately. Second is no, the field has to be replaced with paid because it's immediately being paid. The third one is yes, the payment due date must be mentioned. Fourth is the due date is only required in case of credit sales. Give it a couple of seconds. Okay, we can end the poll. The correct answer is yes, the payment due date will still have to be mentioned. It can be similar to your invoice date if the payment is due immediately payable, but the date has to be mentioned because it will be categorizing in the XML format, and this data will be required for correct transmission of an e-invoice. Let's go to the next question, please.
So here,
sorry.
is one
Yeah.
question from the audience as well live. What are the threshold of revenue for B2B for invoicing mandatory? Companies having turnover of 10 million dirhams are applied in first phase. So Kamil provide an answer of the official UAE invoicing rollout plan doesn't specify 100 million invoice revenue threshold for phase one. All B2B and B2G VAT registered businesses in the UAE are expected to be included starting 1st of July 2026 in a phased manner. So do you have any comment? So here the only comment I would say is VAT registered or not registered, because invoicing will be applicable for transactions. For transactions, we are not for businesses. We are registered or not registered, but the threshold will be announced with the rollout plan. Will be by the end of this year.
Yeah, you're right, Diana. In fact, we have got a few questions around the kind of revenue that would trigger e-invoicing requirement. But yes, at the moment there is no threshold announced by the statutory body for implementation. Once the regulations are out, we will have much more clarity on the kind of threshold if they are going to come out with any or in the phased manner. Great. The next question is with National Cloud Security Policy. I think you can take that up.
I can take that one. So what is required regarding data location under the UAE National Cloud Security Policy? Option A, it can be anywhere as long as it is encrypted. B, consumers must know the location of all the data storage, processing, and management at all times. C, only CSP needs to know the data location, and the location of the data is not relevant under the UAE law. We want to bring a little bit more clarity on the security policies in the UAE, as many customers are not aware. So we can see these questions are very, very helpful. Let's give it a few seconds for the answers.
And the situation is that we don't need, so to be compliant with electronic invoicing is not only to have the data fields right, but also to make sure your service provider is compliant with the cloud regulations in the UAE.
Correct. So the answers are split between two. One is it can be anywhere as long as it's encrypted, and the second one, the cloud consumers must know the location of the data, storage, processing, and management at all times, which is a valid answer. So the answer B is the correct answer.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. Do we move on to the next question?
Yeah, because we have a few minutes left. So,
correct.
And I believe we still have a few more questions.
Yes, let's move on. IT.
So here we have one
Yeah.
question. Okay, let's go with the number 9.
Okay, number 9. Must an e-invoice be issued for transactions that are not considered as supplies, meaning taxable supplies? Example, transfer of business concern going as a concern. Currently, it's outside the scope of VAT. Should an e-invoice still be issued for that? The first option is such cases are excluded from e-invoicing framework and may be clarified by the future legislation. The second is e-invoice must always be issued regardless of supply status. The third option is legislation will clarify on how out of scope commercial invoices are to be treated. Give it a couple of seconds. Okay, we can end the poll now. Interestingly, we've got different kinds of options. Mostly people are saying that such cases are excluded from e-invoicing framework and may be clarified by the future legislation. That is not the correct answer. All kinds of supplies, whether they are taxable or outside the scope of VAT, all of them have to be under the purview of e-invoicing regulations. We've clarified it in our earlier sessions as well. Even the transactions within the same tax group, they are considered as outside the scope of VAT. Those are still considered as supplies, even though non-taxable supplies. They have to be routed through the e-invoicing mechanism, and so will the TOGC aspect or any exempt sales. All of them will have to be under the e-invoicing framework.
Yes, and one thing that we need to clarify here is electronic invoicing is not only for VAT purpose or tax purpose. So electronic invoicing is to track every single transaction that happen in a country. So because the tax administration, Ministry of Finance, they will use this data to create new policies, to see if which Emirates, for example, they need more revenue so they can implement new taxes in specific Emirates, new tax relief as well. But also they need to check if, for example, the company has the price right according to the market. So this is beyond taxes. It's not electronic invoicing implementation. It's not narrow to VAT compliance. It has a lot of implication on VAT because VAT is at transactional level. However, all transactions, regardless if it's out of scope, exempted, zero rated, standard, must be documented with a document, which is the electronic invoice, invoice in this case in the UAE. So this is something that we got a lot of confusion, and when e-invoice is implemented new in a country. So this is something that we need to have in mind and think to implement electronic invoicing in this way.
Great, great. I think we're already at 4:31 now. Maybe the rest of the questions should be taken up in the next seminar, webinar, or do we?
So basically, one person said, out of scope, I don't think so. It's covered in invoicing. So we can share with you the pinned specifications as well, and which out of scope and are there, or we can share with you the public consultation, which is in there as of now. So happy to provide the support to you.
Yeah, I think that I think the question mostly the confusion is because of the fact that in certain FAQs it has been mentioned that such transactions need not have to be reported, and therefore, but the PINT network mandates such transactions. But yes, as Diana mentioned, the data can be shared with all the participants. Why we are mentioning this aspect. At the same time, we would like to let everyone again know that the regulations are still not published as of now. We expect them to be published anytime in October or end of September, and that's when much more clarity around all these ambiguities will come out.
Yes. Yep. So basically, if you have to report or not your transactions on the VAT return, so that is the whole idea. Of course, electronic invoicing regulations and new requirements will evolve over time. It will not be one project only. It will evolve over time because there will be a lot more requirements, more automation, and so that's the reason we are setting up this environment for us to get a deep understanding what are the implications we have and how to be prepared for the upcoming mandate. If we have the solid base and a solid foundation, we'll be able to scale with the new requirements in the future. So that's why this is important to have a clarity and to have this community and conversations. So I think this is nothing from my side. Uchal?
Yeah, we had devised consolidated many questions. I think we've just reached halfway. We will keep on adding the questions and probably come back to you with in our next session on this.
Yes. So I think Summer, if you can, Summer wants to, there is no permission to talk on this call. So for the next session, we'll make sure that the participants will be able to talk on this call. But Summer, if you can drop us an email, we can set up a call with you as well and help you to understand what are the implications about the hospital billing related to patient. So happy to, we are happy to take this with you.
Thank you everyone for participating today and for questions. And we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you
Bye.
very much.